Hello everyone, Joe here. After recommending and talking about all types of RPG games out there, I realized I never made a segment specifically for indie games. Even though there's a lot of segments that I did, also including some indie games, still I want to make a more dedicated video for this genre. Obviously, this video is going to be the part 1, because we all know that the amount of indie games in the market are just extremely high. So there's no way we can cover up all the best games just in one video. Alright then, let's get started. Undertale takes you to a child's adventure to explore an underground world filled with towns and caves and are required to solve numerous puzzles on the journey. Choices made by the player radically affect the plot and general progression of the game, with the player's morality acting as the cornerstone for the game's development. There are 3 main ways you can play Undertale: doing a pacifist run with no kills, a neutral run with some kills, or a genocide run where you kill everything. Monster Sanctuary is a hybrid of Metroidvania and monster collecting game. As you come across monsters in the world, you will battle them using your monsters. You have the possibility of finding an egg of the monsters you defeat, which you can then choose to hatch if you wish. The final version comes with over 100 collectible monsters, 12 unique locations to explore, and over 150 items. Blasphemous is a Metroidvania game that takes place in the fictional region of Custodia. While exploring the world, you will face various types of enemies. Each enemy has a certain attack pattern which players must learn in order to avoid taking damage. You can attack with sword at close range or by casting spells that can be learned throughout the game. To bring even more depth to the battle, there are a number of unlockable and upgradable abilities that can strengthen your character even further. Lilies, Quietus of the Nights is a Metroidvania that has a beautiful art, tragic story, and wonderful soundtracks. In this game, you will control Lily, a young girl that is awakened from her slumber by the spirit of an ancient knight who informs her of the mission she has to undertake. The game features quite a variety of types of monsters, from skeletons, crows, wizards, to large beasts that use their claws to attack you. And just like every Metroidvania, bosses is definitely the core of the gameplay. All bosses that you defeated not only give you new weapons to equip, but also displacement abilities that expand your way of playing. CrossCode is an action RPG that revolves heavily around elemental mechanic, not just in combat, but even in exploration. As the game progresses, you can unlock more elements by visiting different dungeons, each of which culminates in a boss fight. And just like any good RPG, player can also complete multiple side quests that grant additional bonuses. Battle Brothers places you in charge of a company of medieval mercenaries. The map is truly open world, allowing you to roam through villages and cities as well as explore dangerous crypts, lairs, forts, and other dangerous locations. The heart of this game is its combat. Players have to think about positioning, squad conditions, equipment matchup, and even environment. Using a procedurally generated open world map, you're provided a strategic adventure that will last dozens of hours. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a Metroidvania game with an emphasis on exploration and rich atmosphere. As Ori, players must jump, climb, glide, and swim between various platforms to solve intricate puzzles. Throughout the game, you'll gain a variety of new abilities that you can use to access new unexplored places. The enemies you will face are quite diverse. There are enemies that can ram, fly, jump, launch projectiles, and much more. This variation makes you have to be smart to find loopholes and make sure you don't get caught in a bad situation. Salt and Sanctuary is basically a 2D Souls-like game. The players must defeat strong enemies, solve environment puzzles, and conquer terrifying bosses. You level up by amassing salt as you defeat enemies, but if you die, this salt is left in the spot you were down in. There's a lot of build variation that you can try in this game, which makes multiple playthrough seems like a necessity. Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania game published by indie game studio Motion Twin. You take the role of a strange creature called the Prisoner. As the Prisoner, you must fight your way out of a diseased island in order to slay the island's king. You gain weapons, treasure, and other tools through exploration of the procedurally generated levels, using them to fight various mutated creatures. Dead Cells uses a permadeath system, causing the player to lose all items and other currencies each time the player dies. Darkest Dungeon sits in the roguelike genre, a game type often associated with randomly arranged rooms, permanent death, and the fear of what mysterious challenges lie ahead. The game played out in a mix of real-time movement and turn-based combat. The core feature of Darkest Dungeon is the stress level of each hero that increases with further exploration and combat. The gameplay takes place in a procedurally generated dungeons with a varying number of rooms interconnected. The enemies you will encounter, items, and objective locations are randomized each time a quest is begun, as are the layouts of the rooms. Disco Elysium is an RPG that features a dialogue-heavy gameplay mechanics. This game tells the story of a detective who woke up in a state of amnesia after being drunk for 3 days and 3 nights. Disco Elysium has a strange gameplay, but on the one hand, it is also unique because the developer frees players to choose their own playstyle. The protagonist's attributes are divided into 4 parts: intellect, which regulates logic and intelligence; psych, which is responsible for increasing the chances of success in dialogue; physical, to prioritize your physical abilities and your muscles; and lastly, motorics, which plays a role in agility strength such as climbing walls and so on. Hollow Knight is one of the best Metroidvania ever made. In this game, the player controls the Knight, a nameless insectoid warrior who explores Hallownest, a fallen kingdom plagued by a supernatural disease. There's a lot of different characters that you will encounter, and each one has its own uniqueness. Combat is simple, yet hard to master. Some boss fights included so many attack patterns that tested your aerial and platforming mechanic. Some of you might not like it, but if you like a challenging yet rewarding experience, Hollow Knight is a must-have. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a true spiritual successor of the Castlevania series. The player explores a series of rooms presented as a platform game, fighting monsters and bosses, and gaining keys or powers that let them explore the world even further. You are able to use various weapons to perform melee or ranged attacks to defeat monsters or special abilities granted by the shards you possess. The player also gains access to a set of non-playable characters located at the start of the map that provide stores to buy and sell weapons, shards, ingredients, and crafting services to make new weapons or upgrading shards. Grim Dawn is one of the most underrated Diablo-like action RPG. The animations and graphics are a bit rough, but the gameplay makes up for it tenfold. Like other prominent action RPG, the majority of the gameplay in Grim Dawn centers around fast-paced combat and the collection of loot, armor, potions, weapons, and of course money. Grim Dawn offers a ton of content. You have so many types of quests, customizations, and of course build variations.
Once again.
Hades combines an action genre with a roguelike concept. Every room you enter will be randomly generated, so you can rely on memory to conquer it. Interestingly, every time your character dies, he doesn't lose everything. Your character is equipped with 4 basic abilities, namely quick attacks, special attacks, range attacks, and dashes. Your goal is actually quite simple, which is to kill all the enemies in each room, then move on to the next room until you finally meet the boss of that level. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are still other best indie RPG that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best indie RPG games that probably deserve a spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!